And we should be live. Okay. Let's just spam refresh on YouTube just to make sure. It looks like we are live.
We should.
That is a huge W. So we shall have to get all of this sort of thing sorted out. Go with the broadcast camera. Fastest lap. Don't need to worry too much about that right now. We don't want the telemetry on. Lap data enabled. And we'll go with the old full track map. Alright, so not a huge grid today. Of course, with it being the pre-season race, it's to be expected. Of course, we'll have around 19-20 drivers once the season starts. Just excuse me for 1 second. Turns out that the button for clipping on medal is the same button as it is to change the car you're viewing, so I don't want to hear ding every single time. Okay. I think we're good. I hope we're good. So F6 changes the camera. Alright, we're getting there, boys. We're getting there, and girls. We're getting there, everybody. Although that didn't work, did it? That's why that didn't work. If anybody is in the chat and could send a chat message now, and we'll check that that's working. I had it the wrong way around on the layers as Zedlowski. So that's a quick sector 3. Fastest lap there by A127.7. Of course, the first lap set as Dusty struggles there with a little bit of oversteer, and that's going to ruin his lap, it would seem. No Jog with a 127.0 to put himself 7 tenths ahead of A-Dub, who I am assuming set only a banker lap time. And then parks up. Enough said. Fair enough, mate. You do you, pal. Okay, so why is... a little bit of technical... little technical situation. Of course, that is the point of doing the pre-season race, just to make sure we've got everything working fine. Okay. we hit this. Let's test this again. See if it works this time. Hopefully the chat will actually come up on the side of the screen now. That is the hope. It does. Awesome. Just what we wanted. Awesome stuff. Okay. Apologies that we're not going to be following qualifying much initially. Of course, we want to make sure we've got this all going really well before the real racing begins to start season 3. Okay, now hopefully that will be the last cutaway. Alright, let's crack on. Who's currently out? Light work is. Look at that car lean! Plenty of curbing, but he does come into the pits there. It's unfortunate that it pauses every time I tab out, but we have to deal with that for a little bit. So, A-Dub on an outlap, he is in P2. Let's try and get my bearings. Not 100% sure who Fly with Stefan is, but he's here. Fair play. Have a lot of yeeting occurring in the chat as well. A-Dub, of course, slowing down now, sorting out all his settings, making sure everything is good before he begins this lap in anger in that Scarlet Red Ferrari. Let's watch on. So through turn 1 he goes, taking plenty of curb on the inside, but not invalidating these yellow flags there, just for a slow-moving Alfa Romeo that is keeping himself well out of the way. Trying to get the power down nice and early. Of course, traction control does go Brewer, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about losing any traction through there or any losses of grip or anything. Purple, Sector 1. As we approach the fast right-hander, Copse Corner. Beautiful line there by A-Dub. We may see a second purple sector here. It's absolutely flying. All over the curb in there, but not unsettling the car. DRS wide open as he sets another purple sector 2. I think sector 3 is where No Jug was particularly quick. That car that spanned there, staying off the racing surface until it is safe to rejoin, which is what we like to see. That could be a cut. It is. He cuts the penultimate corner, and that results in his lap being invalidated. Even though he did improve, it will all count for naught for A-Dub. Light work in the pits. Here's Fly with Stefan. He crossed the line then just to improve up to P3. Good lap by him. Sharia Coleslaw, de Kraut Salad. DRS wide open. Down the hanger straight. Through Brooklands. And then you really need to get the launch out of that corner for the run up to Cops Corner. Almost flat out there for number 69 driver. Nice. Hooking up the apexes hopefully through this final complex. Critical to extracting the lap time out. You've got to nail the slow speed. Shaves off 7/100ths of a second off of his quickest time, but it's not enough to make too much progress as Kalimov picks up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with A-Dub, clearly going into the pits. Oh, there's some jokes to be made there about Kalimov touching rears, and they are jokes that we will not be getting into today. Anyway, Bacon beginning his lap. At least I hope he's beginning a lap and not ending it, because 9 seconds off is not where he'd want to be. Turn 2, 3 and 4 are critical to really nailing the lap time here. The short shift up to 5th there, so we can really slam the throttle down, doesn't have to worry too much about the possibility of losing the car. Down to 4th to really get the turn, and he nails that apex. And 9/10ths up is Impossible Bacon. About to cross the line to set his first representative lap time, and it's a 128.3. Just 1/10 off of Sharia Coleslaw in 5th. Well, here's Lusky, Dusty Lusky. Doesn't look like he is pushing actually, because that ERS is not depleting. Well, maybe it is. It does look like it is, so actually maybe Dusty is pushing. Certainly looked like he was on the onboard, the DRS wide open as well, as he shaves almost 3/10ths off his best personal time, so definitely pushing here, the Canadian. Being careful not to stray over the track limits there. Did not mean to hit that button. Kind of ruined the suspense a little bit as through the final corner he goes and sets a lap time good enough for P2. Still, No Jug looking a little bit untouchable up there. You'd think a driver like Lightwork perhaps may be able to get within touching distance, but that has it's not transpired yet. And here goes No Jug beginning a flying lap. Who I've got to say It's my bold prediction if I'm allowed to make one with only 2 minutes left of qualifying. Purple sector 1, I'd expect no less. And Dusty has retired from the session as well in the pit lane, so he will not be setting any further lap times. The best he can do is going to be P2 in this session. Another purple sector there by No Jug. Using the DRS detection point line. Well, no, that's not what that is, but that I'm not sure if that was the pit entry line as a reference. As he sets a 126.7, Adam setting 127.6 as VTEC feels sorry for Callywut Rob and wants to ensure that that he isn't starting last in this race, so he goes and gets himself disqualified. Just typical gentleman behaviour there from VTEC. Light work has invalidated, so he won't be sending a lap this time around. He does have time for another though if he has the fuel in the RS, which he does, so something he can do. Sharia Coleslaw probably doesn't quite have the DRS to get a good time in there. Bacon is not going to be able to make it round in time. Calibob is on a fast lap though. And he's set a purple middle sector. The Aston Martin driver could be putting in a late charge for pole position possibly. Let's see. Though No Jug does look rather imperious at the top of the timesheets. That Aston Martin. Filthy as Calibob crosses the line to take a provisional P2, which will drop lower after that 5th place grid penalty is applied. We had light work on a hot lap as well. Though, I don't know, not looking so hot there. Fly with Stefan. Can he fly across the line and set a quicker time than he's managed thus far? Across the line, that's P5. Sharia Coleslaw has also invalidated his lap. He won't be able to set a new one, so it's only Sheldon Turtleton remaining on a hot lap. How hot will this hot lap be as he crosses the line? It will be lukewarm at best. So that will be P10 there for Shelly the Turtle. Now, unless I'm missing someone, I think it's just Sharia Coleslaw coming into the pits that we're waiting on now. Just the AI doing their laps now. And there we go. So No Jug takes pole position for this pre-season race. Calibob taking P2, though that is rather deceiving as he does have to start from lower down with a grid penalty. A-Dub takes P3, also with a grid penalty, which is going to promote Stefan and Lusky up into the 2nd and 3rd place spots. Just behind them is Lightwork, Sharia Coleslaw managing the 7th quickest lap time, though Lightwork slightly deceiving as he did do that on the mediums, which is a slightly slower tyre compound than the softs, especially over one lap. Then we have Bacon and an all-American trilogy of Slayrized, Shelley and VTEC in 9th, 10th and 11th. So, how about we take a look at the calendar for the season that is very quickly approaching. Let's hop over to a very smooth transition. Definitely not a hard cut. I would never want to do a hard cut, but we will get that fixed for next week. And we get to see our calendar for Season 3 of Coleslaw Cup, which I am very, very excited for. Starting off at Portugal on the 15th of March, and then we have Australia, USA, Miami, Monaco, Canada, Austria. Then we come back to Silverstone, where we are currently. Then onwards to France, Hungary, Belgium and the Netherlands as we complete the European leg of this worldwide tour. Actually no, the Italy Monza is just after that. And then we go back to the US to race at COTA this time, not Miami. Then we go to Mexico, and finally our season finale, just like in the olden days, is at Brazil to end both the American leg of the tour, the Americas leg of the tour. And let's go back to the racing action as well as the season. And we don't have a formation lap. We do have a formation lap, okay. Caught me off guard for a second there. I was worried that we didn't have a formation lap, but that's my bad. And the pit stop strategy actually changing for each driver, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I apologise for the rather abrupt return to the race, and I was worried that it was going to be the first lap there instead of the formation lap, but it's good to see that we can bring up the graphics and stuff. Of course, this is all things that we wanted to test, and it's gone rather swimmingly thus far. Shelley and VTech almost forgetting that it's the formation lap for a moment there. Here comes the procession of cars approaching the starting grid, making sure the drivers get lined up perfectly on their spots. They want to get the best possible position for their getaway on the main straight, as Sharia fails to do that, as does VTech and Impossible Bacon. And the very slow approaching Shelley the Turtle, who, yeah, he's not going to beat any hares travelling at that speed. Though I suppose he's a turtle and not a tortoise. So let's just wait 25 minutes. Okay. And we go, hopefully, to the 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go, and No Jug gets a decent start, as does Fly with Stefan. Lusky getting away well also. This is going to take some getting used to. Anyway, Fly with Stefan going around the outside of Dusty Lusky though, who tries to hold it on down the inside, which is going to turn to the outside for this corner. Shria Coleslaw watching on from behind. Through Brooklands we go. Stefan still keeping the pressure on Lusky. He wants that P2 spot, but they've got to be careful that Sharia Coleslaw doesn't get too interested on the back of them as well. As it seems mostly settled. No Jug getting away pretty well with that fighting between P3 and P2. Yellow flags already as VTech finds himself off the racing surface. He's now returned to the track, but he's lost a hell of a lot of time, and this may be a boring pre-season race as far as VTech is concerned. Coleslaw trying to keep the pressure up on the back of Stefan, who does make a mistake there. That's going to compromise his line for the next corner. Sharia might be able to get a better exit, sorry. AW just behind them as No Jug, of course, that's the fastest lap of the race with it being the first lap. And that's Bacon gone around. Possibly going to give some competition to VTech. Let's see. This is the real battle that everybody wants to see. Looks like Bacon is going to be recovered in time. And Shelley the Turtle getting rather interested behind Cali Rob in that McLaren. It's going to have the slipstream, though this is a rather sketchy place to make an overtake, and Shelley's going to be nowhere near close enough. Not too much kicking off immediately. Of course, we do still have Shelley rather close to the back of Cali Rob in that McLaren chasing the Aston Martin down. No Jug setting another fastest lap, but he hasn't managed to increase his lead by too much. And Fly with Stefan actually takes the fastest lap there. Shelley the Turtle loses it. Manages to recover pretty quickly, actually, to his credit. And that's Lusky gone. Lusky into the wall. Dusty Lusky. More like old, musty, dusty and crusty. What's he doing out there? Coleslaw promoted up into P3 with that. That incident there. And that's another spin. This time it's for Slayerized. You can tell that the drivers maybe didn't practice this track with it being a pre-season race. And Lusky finds himself getting overtaken by Shelley. Dusty maybe carrying some damage there. Shelley already picks up a track limit penalty as well. Coleslaw on the back of Fly with Stefan. Past he goes using the DRS. Only just caught the tail end of that. The Deltas flew down on the interval time in there. VTech also within DRS range now of Slayerized. They'll be looking again pretty quickly there on the Californian, who may pit but does not. Dusty in the pits probably confirming there that he did indeed have damage. Stefan putting the pressure on Sharia as well through the first few turns. He wants to get his position back. Dusty, of course, dropping to the back of the field. And VTech finally getting himself past Slayerized too. Yeah, he isn't having a great time of it out there, unfortunately. But this is a little bit of a battle here for fourth, third and second, far behind No Jug. He may not have a jug, but he has jug loads of pace. See what I did there? Haha! Anyway, Shreya Coleslaw with Fly with Stefan 6/10 behind and A-Dub a further 5. Of course they're going to close up to each other a little with the DRS, and then the gap should elongate slightly through the corners. Light work just behind them as well, a driver that usually has quite a lot of pace. So yeah, this fight brewing could soon turn into a much bigger battle, shall we say. Shreya still comfortably leading the way though, but yeah, he can't put a foot wrong here. If Shreya makes the slightest mistake, he knows that these 3 drivers are going to be all over the back of him. Just look how good this game looks sometimes. Okay, ignore the workday banner, but so we've got I think that's Slayerized. It's gone around again. Yep, there he is. That's not the right way. Dusty's going to have some company here if Slayer isn't careful. And oh my goodness me, of course, the overtakes happen as soon as I look away. That's Lightwork getting his way past A-Dub. I said Lightwork is a quick driver. There's been 2 overtakes of note so far this race, and I've missed the both of them. Wonderful commentator, folks. Take my word for it. Don't need to watch the stream, it's fine. A-Dub will want to reassert some pressure to Lightwork, but I think he's going to be looking forward here to try and mount a challenge on his teammate Fly with Stefan. We've also got to think what this could mean for the championship next season. Of course, it's not a truly representative sample of data regarding the pace of these drivers, but no joke, you got to think he's going to be up there. And I was tempted to look back at those the Aston Martin, the McLaren, sorry, of Shelley fighting Impossible Bacon, but I've learned my lesson, and I knew if I looked away there'd be an overtake and I'd miss it. Now there isn't an overtake, and I can look back, which means there's probably going to be an overtake where you don't expect it. But here's Bacon chasing down Shelley, who's weaving to break the toe. And we've got yellow flags there ahead. That's Calibob finding himself in a little spot of bother. He's going to return right into the middle of these guys. As down the inside goes Bacon. They make contact, and around goes Bacon. Calibob with a first class seat to that one. And Fly with Stefan locking up a little bit there, goes slightly deep. Lightwork doing something very similar, but perhaps to try and get a slightly better exit. This is the issue though for Lightwork that he has to contend with. Fly with Stefan is going to have the DRS on Shreya Coleslaw ahead of him, so it's going to be very difficult for him to actually close up. Dusty dropping behind. Slayer there with another spin, that looks like. As Bacon retires, that's on the track. He's called out a full course safety car. A full course safety car, ladies and gentlemen. So now we have the joys of working out how the heck this freaking menu works. Right. Let's get the whole tyre situation up, because that is what is going to be noteworthy. Into the pits. comes No Jug as Sharia picks up a 3-second time penalty under safety car. Not what you want to do. The whole squad rocking up here. Look at them all go. Slayerized picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. Multiple warnings on the track limits. This is good for Dusty though, as he can catch all the way back up to the back of the pack after losing a lot of ground with the issues that he had. He's got pace, but he just can't seem to keep it clean and consistent at the moment. And that's been the downfall for him. We've got VTech, who was elected not to pit. He stayed out on the hard tyres that he began the race on. Or that he pitted on the first lap for, actually. Quite possibly, I'm not 100% sure on that. What is No Jug doing here? No Jug. Buddy. I mean... He's pushing his luck. He's really pushing his luck. VTech is going to be watching on, rather confused if I can ever freaking find him. There we go. I mean, pre-season race, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think they'd be taking these sort of risks in the regular season. Everybody's starting to file up and catch up to the back of the safety car, apart from the two McLarens and Dusty Lusky, who find themselves pretty far off. Dusty retiring there. Not sure if he just crashed trying to come into the pits. Does appear that way. So now we only have to wait for Slayer Eyes to catch up, who is going off the track. He's pushing that much, but possibly picking up some unwanted warnings, though I'm not sure the drivers really care too much about their finishing position, as it is a pre-season race. They'll mostly just want to be there for the fun and the action. An extra lap of safety car here, of course, because of Slayer Eyes being so far behind, and hopefully he can catch up this lap. I'd imagine he can. No Jug finally doesn't get away with it. I'm pretty sure he made contact there. It looked like it. He did ghost for a second as well. And Slayerized should be catching up right about now, so the safety car should be in this lap. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. And here is Slayerized on the back of the pack. Safety car in this lap. Can't imagine No Jug is going to come under much threat here from VTech, who is not quite on its level in terms of pace. It doesn't seem from what we've seen in the past 9 laps anyway, and is of course on slightly older tyres, though the difference won't be huge on the hards. And I think No Jug has just attempted to go very early. As we see VTech hit the curb there, struggling for grip. There are all sorts going on there with Slayer Rise at the back as well. Shreya pretty close to the back of VTech. He will want to make a move pretty soon to try and alleviate some of that pressure from Fly with Stefan. Aid-up, Lightwork and Calirob behind. Lightwork narrowly avoiding contact there with the back of Aid-up's car. Calirob not quite able to take advantage of the situation though. And Aid-up really nailing the first part of the Maggots and Becketts there. He's putting some pressure on Fly with Stephen. But here's Sharir Coleslaw on the back of VTech. He pulls to the inside. No DRS enabled just yet, of course, as that safety car has just come in. VTech tries to hold that one around the outside. He's going to find himself in a fatal three-way. Aid-up backing out of that one rather wisely. He may be able to take a better line here and swoop past one or maybe two of these drivers ahead of him that are fighting, and Fly with Stefan gets pushed off there by VTech in his defence and finds himself under threat from Lightwork after getting passed by Aid-up. Fly with Stefan picking up that 3-second time penalty as well. Calirob watching on from behind as Aid-up tries to get his way past VTech, who has the inside. All sorts going on here now as Lightwork is down the inside of Stefan. Aid-up swoops past VTech. Calirob gets a run on Lightwork as well, and to the inside goes Stefan on VTech. Around the outside tries to go Calirob. The two Mercedes make contact there. Some great racing here as Fly with Stefan loses a position there to Lightwork, who swoops himself down the inside. Calirob looking to put the pressure on VTech, possibly even running up towards Cups corner. Stefan still very close in behind his teammate as well, so this fight is far from over, and I expect more positions to change as off goes the McLaren in the background. I think that was Shelley the Turtle that lost it, and into the wall he goes. That hopefully isn't a safety car, and there it is. So not for the first time, Shelley the Turtle DNFs and causes a safety car. What will VTech do here? Will he pit? 15 laps remaining. It's in a difficult situation here, VTech, because ideally he'd want to be taking these hards further into the race, but he does decide to pit. Calirob follows him in as well. Perhaps with some damage. Everybody behind coming in, because why not at this point? Get yourself some fresh tyres. It's a free pit stop. Hopefully this will be a rather short interlude. Wonder if Shelley perhaps will want to hop in. And we do just have the safety car period at the moment, so why don't we have another look at the calendar, because it's the only graphic I've got, so it's the only graphic you're gonna get for the time being, at least, quite frankly, if you want me to be completely honest. So there we go. Starting on Wednesday evening in if you're in the US, at Portugal. Impossible Bacon hopping out of the race as well after he DNF'd. We've got Australia following a week after that, and no break weeks it would seem as well, which we'd love to see. Don't stop the action. Yeah, we're going to power all the way through the entire season, so we're going to have Portugal, Australia, USA, Miami. Then we go to the tight, twisting streets of Monaco. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve follows that for the Canadian Grand Prix, as we then begin the European leg of this season. Austria, Great Britain, France, Hungary, Belgium, the Netherlands and Monza in quick succession as we make our way across the European continent and then back over to the USA for the second American race on the calendar. It's the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. Great track. Then onwards we go to Mexico, finally ending our season in Brazil. And we can return now to the action. On the racetrack. And we're going to have Shelley joining us shortly as well, just to test out how that all works as well, and if the audio levels are going to be all good and everything's going to be working fine. Hopefully there will not be any issues. Safety car in this lap, the announcement that we all expected. So we hop forward to the front. Halfway through this British Grand Prix, as we find ourselves in the midst of a little sprint to the finish. Will No Jug go very early as he did last time? He's still weaving, warming up those tyres, but he could go at any moment, and there it is. You hear the power going down. On our way, powers No Jug. Crossing the line, meaning we are now racing. How the field is managing to be that spread out on a safety car restart, I mean, I couldn't tell you, but Stefan, Kalirob and Vitek are anything but spread out. Stefan perhaps thinking about making a move down the inside there, but he doesn't go for it, rather disappointingly. It would have been nice to see him go yeet. Can Kalirob get his way past Vitek? Of course, no DRS for a few laps. That's if we can get a few laps without another safety car being called out. But this is what you expect when you come to a difficult track. For a pre-season race, people aren't going to be able to put the same amount of time into practicing for a pre-season race. It's just not justifiable. So a little rusty, musty, dusty and lusky everyone will be, I think, but they're making a good effort of it to give us a show. Kalirob getting close to the back of Vitek once more, still without the assistance of the DRS, but he will be hoping to be able to make a move without that assistance. Stefan not too far behind, and A-Dub getting very close to the back of Sharia Coleslaw. Could be looking to make a move into Maggots and Beckett's even, which would be an interesting one. Manages not to make any contact with the back of Sharia Coleslaw there. That speed, that could have been disastrous, but he avoids it, and onto the straight we go. DRS will be enabled on the next lap as we see Slayerized pirouetting there in the background. Lightwork manages to elevate himself out of last position of the running drivers. And there it is, DRS enabled. Calirob will be hoping to fly past VTEC on the straight, but he will have the DRS from A-Dub to help defend against Brooklyn Robert. Not able to get anywhere near close enough there, Calirob, and A-Dub still all over the back of Sharia, trying to make a move for P2. No Jug checking out as he did previously. No Jug with a Max Verstappen-like performance here, where he can just get his head down and disappear. But it's pretty close behind them. Doesn't look like A-Dub will be quite close enough. No one will be, actually, as we get deeper into sector 3, sorry. No Jug setting another fastest lap. It's all coming up purple, and here is Calirob. Can he make a move on VTEC? Possibly down the inside here. He thinks about it, but he wants the DRS, I think, but VTEC is still going to have it. They were close enough to A-Dub and Sharia there, actually. VTEC getting a little bit of oversteer, though, and that might seal the deal. Calirob nails the traction. And there's fighting up ahead as well, but Sharia's not going to be close enough, and past goes Calirob. VTEC, can he try and fight it back, perhaps with a switch back, but Calirob manages to get himself slowed down well there and does not leave the door open for VTEC to come back at him. A-Dub all over the back of Sharia, and there goes Sharia with the spin. Unfortunately, that removes the prospect of that particular aspect of the fight from occurring, which is a disappointment. But and here goes Calirob on A-Dub, down the inside. A-Dub tries to hold it around the outside. They start getting pretty close to each other, and that's DTR No Joke, who's spun his way out of the lead, and suddenly this fight has much higher stakes. It's P1 versus P2 as A-Dub holds it around the outside. And suddenly the winner of this race went from clearly one person to the possibility of 4 different people, as we watch on board with Stefan as he goes down the inside here on VTEC. Perhaps looking to get the outside line as we approach the straight. He could look to do the up and under, the switchback, try and nail the exit, but we're going to go back to this fight here because Calirob has the DRS. A-Dub breaking the toe, but he's not going to be close enough. VTEC versus Stefan now. VTEC falling behind Stefan now, and I don't think he's going to be able to come back at him, at least not just yet. Calirob still on the back of A-Dub. still so close between the top four. DTR No Jug maybe can't be counted out if he didn't get any damage from that spin, which didn't look like he did. He is not too far behind. Even he could maybe try and make a charge to get back to his previous position. Calirob gets a second chance now to try and attack Ada, but he's going to be too far behind. He can't match the ferocity of the traction control through that traction zone on the run up to the straight. If I can remember how to speak English correctly. VTech still keeping touch for this fight. As Calirob picks up a 3-second time penalty to match Stefan's. But we aren't going to pay too much attention to that, as we're here more for the racing in a pre-season race. And here goes Calirob talking about racing. Down the inside he goes on Adub, who does not have much ERS to defend with. Adub tries to sweep around the outside and Calirob spins. VTech, Stefan, No Jug all making their way past Calirob, who finds himself side by side with Lightwork before ultimately losing that position. And there goes Lightwork. That's a big shunt. As we see his corpse on the right hand side, and that's another safety car. In hindsight, perhaps that should have been turned off, but we live and we learn. They were past the pit exit as well when that came out, so they'll complete a lap at racing speed here. Beginning to wonder if we'll even have any drivers left by the end of this one. Isn't really looking like it thus far. And again, in comes everybody into the pits, of course, for the soft tyres, I'd imagine. Did Stefan continue on? He did. So he's going to take the provisional lead, but you'd imagine he's going to struggle not to get swallowed up by the pack. Slayer Eyes may single-handedly elongate this safety car period by possibly 2 laps, which is unfortunate. And then he pits as well. And in comes DTR No Jug and Calibre. Here's another opportunity for the safety car to come in, which it won't take. And in comes VTech because he was getting bored. Please forget to admire how good this game looks. It's one good thing about it. It does have its many drawbacks, but is this guy serious? And spares everyone their sanity. Nice. Could have done that 2 laps ago. But we're finally ready to get racing again, I think, at the end of this lap. And that's a big issue there for No Jug. Gets himself on the curbing, and when he puts the power down, the car spears off of the track. Sharia losing it there, and Calibre, the opportunist, swoops past as Stefan restarts this race. VTech finds himself alongside Coleslaw and has to drop back, and Nojog gets past him as well. Nojog having to give the position back up to VTEC though, as it was before the first safety car line. A-Dub now fighting for the win with Stefan. Only 3 laps remaining, including this one. Calibob close enough to possibly get involved. Give it a lap or so, depending on how much Stefan and A-Dub slow up, with the potential for battling here. Everybody using their ERS, it would seem, at this point in time. Literally everybody in the field was using their ERS at that point. A-Dub is all over the back of Stefan already. Calibob will want to get a move on and catch up to this before A-Dub can make a pass. That's assuming A-Dub can make a pass. You'd think he would with the pace and tyre advantage, but it's so difficult without the DRS, and that's Nojog spinning around as well there. He's retired from the session as well. Too late for a safety car, I pray. A-Dub could look to maybe get on the inside there, but he goes to the outside as Stefan goes defensive. He then switchbacks and switchbacks again. All focusing on the exit, doesn't keep it tight enough there. Nearly runs into the back of Stefan and has to lift off. Calibob going to be very close behind as well, as he sets the fastest lap of the race, chasing this pairing of P1 and P2. Calibob could look to make an opportunistic move here. Down the inside he goes on A-Dub. A-Dub trying to fight back down the inside as Calibob holds it and sweeps all the way around the outside. Now who can get the better traction? For once, it isn't the one with the traction control that goes burr. On that tighter line, A-Dub just couldn't quite get the traction that Calibob was able to muster. A-Dub looking there for any sort of up and under that he could get on Calibob, but it didn't present itself, unfortunately for him. And Calibob can now push on to try and overtake Fly with Stefan. Of course, still no DRS enabled. That will be next lap, which will also be the final lap, coincidentally, as Calibob runs wide. A-Dub, of course, likely inheriting the win on penalties anyway, but we don't want to get too bogged down in that. We just want to focus on the racing and what's unfolding on the track. And right up behind Fly with Stefan is Calibob. He could look to make the move right here if he wanted to, but he decides not to go for it just yet. But he's going to be very close as we approach this slow section, and deep goes Stefan. The switchbacks there from Calibob, trying to find any way to pull alongside, and A-Dub is going to be right behind the Aston Martin driver now. It's the final lap of the race as well, so this is it. It's a 3-car battle to take P1 on the road. Calibob trying to get Stefan here, and he might have him here because Stefan doesn't quite have the best run through that corner, and open is the DRS on the back of Calibob's Aston Martin. He tucks up in the slipstream, but it's not going to be enough just yet. Stefan, could he hold on to this here and take an unlikely win on suboptimal tyres? A-Dub very low on ERS, but that's not a problem for Calibob, who has over 50% of his store remaining. There he goes. ERS flowing. The DRS enabled. Tucked up right behind Stefan, who is struggling for ERS. Down the inside goes Calibob. Can he take the win on the track in the final sector? It looks like he can. I don't think A-Dub is going to have anything to say about that one, unfortunately for him. He might be able to just get past Stefan before the line if he really nails his exit, but it doesn't look like it. It's going to be Calibob to come across the line. P1, A-Dub promoted after penalties applied. Coleslaw P4, VTEC and P5, the last of the finishers. And Calibob is your driver of the day. we watch the celebrations. I'm going to end the stream off there, as I am rather confident that this should work well on Wednesday. Confirmation of the final results there.